I wanted to make a quick video about an experience I had today going to Surrey Provincial Court. Uh, I work out there from time to time, and Surrey has just recently finished renovations on the courthouse out there. And essentially, what they've done, well, they've moved a lot of things around, and part of what they've done is created a new secure entranceway for all of the people coming into the courthouse. Effectively, think of it like a TSA security screening. So you've got a restricted corridor that you pass through, a narrow passageway guarded by an armed officer. Then you go into a new room where they've got those X-ray machines to check all the people's bags, two rows of those, and then matching metal detectors to pass through, and finally an officer at the other end of that with a metal detector wand, and of course a couple other officers around manning the X-ray stations to see if, I suppose, what's inside people's bags or purses as they're coming inside the courthouse. This is a new development. Before this opened up, there was no such thing at all, no such level of security at all. The doors simply, you pulled them open and you walked in, was the previous status quo. No screenings, you didn't meet an officer, you didn't get patted down. So that's all changed now. From time to time, if there was a serious criminal trial before, like a gang trial, they would set up a temporary security screening area for the people coming into, let's say, a gang-related trial. But nothing like this. Now all people coming into the courthouse, whether it's for small claims, whether it's for a child support application, whether it's to vary a parenting schedule, and of course criminal matters as well, they've all got to go through this sort of cattle call, prodding corridor, presumably on the basis that they're all, that everybody is a threat to the security of everybody else. I'm just really frustrated and somewhat baffled by this change at the courthouse. I'm not aware of any weapon attacks that have occurred at the courthouse. I've been working there for a number of years. It's a fairly peaceful place. I mean, yes, people occasionally, I suppose, lose their temper and yell at each other, and I'm sure the odd arrest has to be made, although to be truthful, I've never seen anything even to that extent, though I'm certain that exists. So I'm just baffled why this sudden drastic change to essentially a police state or police lockdown like environment for the entrance to this public building. Again, I'm not aware of any weapon attacks that have occurred in that courthouse at any time, and I suppose if they are there, they're far and few between. The problem with this is, well, there's a few problems. One, it just really makes for a miserable environment. I mean, I'm going to work there, and people are going there to try to solve problems, and you're met by these strange large men who are armed, blocking your entrance to a public building where you're trying to get something done, where you have every right to be passing into. Of course, barring your entry until you satisfy these men that you're not a threat. So it's uncomfortable. It's irritating. It takes it's time consuming. It's demeaning. It seems to be putting everybody on edge. It's changing the moods and the energy of the people who are in the courthouse, who now are on edge for this threat that has never surfaced before. It's having practical implications as well. It's taking people 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 minutes, depending on the length of the line, to get into court. Whereas before, it took 5 seconds. Like I said before, you open the door, you walk in, and you're in the courthouse. And now you've got to go through this process that takes 2 or 3 minutes per person. And of course, if more than one person comes at a time, which they do, you're waiting in line. And so the odd immediate result is, if you go to, say, family court for the list day, where they list, 24 people who've got their matters, that are there usually to set a hearing date, it was empty today because they were all in line basically, 15, 20 minutes, 25 minutes late to get into the security thing, get through the security clearance. So I mean, I suppose that's just a practical challenge of arriving half an hour earlier to go through, this new security clearance. But it's creating practical challenges. People don't have the wherewithal to make these plans. Not everybody does. So there's additional delays that are coming into the court process. I tell you, the list day was empty. I mean, there was 25 people on the list, and it seemed that maybe 2 or 3 of the parties had actually managed to make it through. So there's practical challenges here. It's really ruined the quality of the environment. It's really put on everybody on edge. It's slowing down, in meaningful, practical ways, the administration of justice. And I think I have bigger concerns as well, which is, if you treat everybody like they are a dangerous animal, then I think that it makes it a lot more likely that's what you're going to get. So they've built this courthouse now, to be on total lockdown, as if we are all these dangerous animals, and that, a threat lurks around every corner. It makes people behave in weird, aggressive ways, because it demeans the spirit to be presumed to be a dangerous person. There's no basis. There's no basis for that for the vast majority of people. It really demeans the soul, and it puts my back up. That's for sure. I don't really know how to address it or how to ameliorate this problem. It seems to me not a reasonable level of security based on the threats and the security issues that I'm aware of. It seems to be a significant overreaction. I'd also point out that our justice system does not have the funds to even prosecute crimes in a timely fashion, let alone pat down every single citizen who wants to come to this public building. I'm baffled by it. I'm frustrated by it. I don't really know how to tackle it yet, but it really seems like really think it's a bad direction for the court to be going. I think it's a bad administrative decision, and it's, I think it's a bad security decision as well. Those are my thoughts on that for now, and perhaps I can come up with some way to try to reduce the spread of that or even bring that back down, because I don't see any good coming from it. Thanks for listening.